A new report came out recently conducted by CIBC that states buying a home feels out of reach for 76% of non-owners. First off, let me know down in the comments section if you think personally, if you're renting right now or maybe you live at home, do you feel that home ownership is out of reach for you right now? Now, I'm going to pull up an article from Global News that commented on this report that came out by CIBC. Now, it states that for the majority of Canadians who don't own property, the dream of homeownership is feeling elusive. That's the new CIBC report suggests. According to the report released on last Thursday from now, 76% of Canadians who aren't homeowners say that entry into the housing market feels out of reach. Now, if you are, say, a first-time home buyer and you are looking to get into the housing market in the next year or two, I would be happy to sit down with you to discuss everything from A to Z, how the process works in purchasing a home. If you'd like to do that, I have left my information down below in the description where you can book a one-on-one appointment with me there. Now to continue on with the article, more than half of Canadians without property, 56% of them say that they are not giving up hope that they will own a home one day here in Canada. Now, this was the breakdown of the poll that they did. So non-homeowners or non-owners in the housing market, again, 76% feel that home ownership is out of reach. Not giving up hope in owning a home, over half of them said that, which is great. Having started saving for a down payment, only 28%. And now this is certainly getting harder, especially with the price of rent. Now, rent used to be cheaper than a mortgage, like way cheaper, where you could actually save for the down payment while paying rent. Now, a rent payment is basically the same, if not maybe more, than an actual mortgage. So it's harder and harder nowadays to save for that down payment and everything else that just comes along with living in general. And carrying on here, so 55% of them said they can only get a home as an inheritance or a gift. Now, in my opinion, this is a feeling. This would, people that say this, they feel that way. They haven't been taught personal finance, that sort of thing. I know that's not taught in schools as much, or maybe not at all. So maybe they just don't know, where to start right from the beginning. When you're trying to actually save for down payment, where to cut out, how to budget, that sort of thing. So in my opinion, that's more of a feeling. Certainly in some situations, yes, they will only need inheritance or a gift to actually own a home, but I think a lot of that is, again, just a feeling. 48% of them say they might move out of the big city. So moving out of the big city, obviously Toronto and Vancouver are a lot more expensive than living in the suburbs or moving out further, where you can actually, afford to own a home, rather than just a shoebox in the sky, really. And this one is kind of alarming. 26% say they consider buying their first home with friends. In my opinion, that just seems like a bad idea. You both have your two separate lives. What if you're, say it's two guys going in together. What if you meet someone and you want to sell your half, and obviously because you're owning the home together, the other person can't afford to carry that mortgage themselves, so they would have to sell, go back to renting. It just seems like a nightmare. So if you can avoid that, in my opinion, you should avoid that altogether. And carrying on, the article goes on to say the two biggest reasons for homeownership feeling out of reach were overpriced housing market, 70% said that, and the inability to save for a down payment, so 63%. That's going back to that, where the rent is basically equal or maybe more than a mortgage payment right now. Over 28% of respondents without property said that they are currently saving for a down payment, which is great. Now, hopefully for them, the rate of them saving for a down payment and the cost of living and the cost of house prices overall is, not skyrocketing in the next few years. So who knows what's going to happen with the housing market in the next couple of years. Hopefully for them, they can buy in the next year or two before rates come down, and who knows what's going to happen. But again, hopefully for those people that are currently actually saving for specifically saving for a home, that they can actually get into the housing market and get a property that they want. And for most non-owners, 55%, homeownership only feels possible with inheritance or a gift from family members. So going back to that, again, there's that word feels possible with inheritance or a gift. So that's what I was getting at earlier there. Now, Global did speak to a realtor and broker of Realosophy Realty. He said he does not find the number surprising. If you consider some of the biggest cities in Canada and Toronto, for example, home prices are roughly 10 times the median household income. And that's a huge problem because home buyers, when they're getting a mortgage, can't really borrow much more than four and 4.5 times their income. And again, to parrot what I just said, he also said skyrocketing rent prices could be behind people's inability to save for a down payment. And he also said, how do you save as a first-time buyer when your rent costs are surging and it's so expensive just to even rent an apartment? He mentions that this partially explains why many can't even save. They're getting hit on both ends. Not only are home prices high, but they can't save for that down payment because of their rent prices. The article then goes on to mention, with high home prices in major Canadian cities like Toronto and Vancouver, 48% said they would consider moving out of a major city to get more real estate value for their money. The housing crisis is also forcing some to consider out-of-the-box solutions. This is one I completely disagree with, is again the 26% that said they would consider buying a property with their friends to be able to afford a home. Now let me know in the comments section if you would consider doing this with a friend. I would advise against it, but let me know if you would consider it, or maybe it's a family member or someone like that. But yeah, again, let me know in the comment section if you would consider this sort of thing, or if you think it's crazy like I do. Now, Representative Carissa, I won't even try to pronounce her last name, at CIBC said housing affordability is a challenge across the country, as many Canadians could use guidance on how to make their homeownership dream a reality. Now, this is where I come in. If you are looking for a home in the Kelowna area, I'd love to sit down with you and discuss your options. Now, that representative also added that about 80% respondents said they needed help navigating the housing market. So again, this is where I come in. Like I just said, I can meet with you. I won't read through that. It's basically what that says. Sit down with, a realtor, even like a financial planner or a mortgage broker. Step one is a mortgage broker, by the way. See what you can qualify for, then reach out to your realtor. Now, on top of people who are non-owners, current owners were surveyed as well. Now, on top of the non-owners that were surveyed, current owners were also surveyed, and the article states that many current homeowners surveyed by CIBC said they were making several adjustments to manage mortgage payments. A little over half, 51%, of variable mortgage holders said they've been cutting down on household payments, while 21% said they were putting lump sum payments towards their mortgage. So what happened with those variable mortgage rate holders? The variable rate mortgage is the rates we always hear about in the news. So when you hear about, Bank of Canada raised interest rates by 0.5%, those are the people that were being affected over the last 2 years with those rate increases. Now, the flip side of that is the fixed rate holders. So the report found that 45% of Canadian homeowners with fixed mortgage rates said they anticipated cutting back on daily expenses when their mortgage comes up for the renewal in the next 2 years, while 34% said they plan to shop around for the best rates. So those are the people that would have bought homes in 2020 or 2021 with super low interest rates around 2% or sub 2% like myself. So my mortgage comes up in 2025. Who knows what rates are going to be then? Probably not, or definitely 99.9% sure they're not going to be that low. Probably should say 100%. They're not going to be 2% again anytime soon. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with rates in the next year or two, especially personally, just because it affects me personally, what will happen in late 2025. Now that's the end of the article. At the very bottom, it mentions, I won't read it, but it does mention the survey was conducted in 2 waves. Wave 1 was among the homeowners with either fixed or variable mortgages, and among those who intend to purchase a new home in the next 2 years. Wave 2 was among 1,526 Canadians, so take it for what it is. 1,500 people for a whole poll to say that this represents the adult population in Canada of non-homeowners who feel like homeownership is out of reach seems kind of low. Again, you got to take into consideration the people taking polls online. For what it is, let me know in the comments section again if this does represent you, if you feel that homeownership is out of reach, or if you are optimistic for the future.